On this episode of Blending Bourbon, Dixon and I talk about the holidays and what's ahead for the remainder of 2023.
Blending Bourbon is the podcast that takes you beyond the barrel and behind the scenes of the whiskey industry with master blenders Dixon Dedman and David Mark Young.
Welcome back to another episode of Blending Bourbon. I am Dixon Dedman from 2XO Whiskey, joined by the grand poobah of Golden Sheaf, Mr. David Mark Young. I feel like it's been, I don't know, a month since
It's been a while.
We did this. How in the world are you?
Tired, scared, nervous. No, I'm great. I'm fantastic. It's great to be here. You know, when you're on the road, I see, through the social media lens, and then I get, little tidbits here and there from you via text, occasionally talk on the phone. I just can't imagine living your life. However, the last couple of weeks for me has been insane. It's again, a little bit of a taste of, our scaled footprint and just being in, different markets and it's the end of the year, right? We're closing in on the D in OND, October, November, December. But to answer
that
your
was
question,
always a funny acronym that people always said, and I was like, yeah, I don't know what that is. I was like,
OND.
Off.
Oh no, damn it. It's interesting though. Life's good. It's great. It seems like this time of year, it's just busier than the rest of the year, right? Life in and of itself. And then I feel like this industry is busier than any industry I've experienced to date. There's just a lot of celebration, I guess, involves or includes spirits, which is a great thing.
No, for sure. I mean, I think it's interesting. Yeah, you say that, talking about seeing things, through the social media lens, and I'm more of a anymore. I'm more of a copy and paster. I'm more of a repost.
Just echo.
I don't even have. I'm not even. But I was in New York. Went and did. I had a couple really great meetings, and New York has been, for whatever reason, or for a lot of reasons that aren't our reasons. They're just the kind of politics of distributor state, the realignment issues, so we kind of go up there to sort that out. And I was like, I asked my wife, I was like, would you like to go up for a couple days, and we'll go up a day early and go to dinner, and you can do New York solo, no kids, and I'll work and meet you for dinner. And so she was up there for a couple days, and what was great about it is that she was like, I haven't been on one of these trips for you or with you in a while, and sometimes it's really easy to forget that you're actually working. And from the outside looking in, she's saying, when I see what all this entails, like, it comes off as very glamorous and exciting and fun on, because you post a couple things on social media, but, there's a hell of a lot more to it than, just the couple cool things that you do. And she was like, I forget that sometimes, and I think, oh, here he goes again off to wherever, and
having
she's
fun.
like, it's easy to forget But when I see you walk out of the hotel room at 7 a.m, you know, to go get on a train to go somewhere, and I see your itinerary and, you know, whatever. And then I see the way you look when you come back at the end of a day from doing all that stuff. And
Beat
she's
down.
like, she's like, I felt like I needed to just, you know, let you go to sleep or what, you know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah.
it's a lot. But my challenge right now is kind of at the same time that we've launched all this stuff and we're going a million miles an hour. I mean, I'm home for about a little over 48 hours before I head back out again. And I was home for about 48 hours in between the last ones, and, you know, and whatever is like, also got all these people that are trying to plan for 2024 and schedule this and production runs and all that stuff. And it's like, I don't know when y'all think I've got time to sit down and put all this together. Cause
Right. Well, no, I don't know about you, but I don't seem to have time to reflect on things and you know, celebrate the little wins and that sort of thing. It's just, it goes. And then before you know it, there is a point where I stop and then turn around and go, oh, wow. Like it hasn't been you know, I mean, it's, you know, a lot of times an uphill battle, but we've accomplished a lot. And, you know, I'm kind of reflecting now in my head on this last year, thinking back to, you know, end of November, I think you ran the New York Marathon. And then you just rolled out Phoenix Blend right about now, right? A year ago.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of late September, early October. And
Okay.
it started,
So it was in motion.
It was in motion. Yes. I mean, I don't know, that seems like 5 years ago, not
Right.
1 year ago.
Isn't that crazy though?
And it
That
feels
was a
like
year ago.
50 crises ago, and about, I don't know, 100,000 airline miles ago or whatever.
Yeah. That's great though, to look at, you know, from Phoenix up to, you know, Gemma, Kentucky now and everything in between. That's a lot. You're right. It does look glamorous. It does look glamorous. Like you're just kind of rolling it out and, you know, drinking whiskey and sharing that with everybody around the country. It looks like a great time. You're just on tour having fun, Dixon. That's all. It's not work.
Listen, don't let me don't let me fool you. I try to have a good time wherever I am and whatever I'm doing. And, you know, I think it's with anything, you know, you got to remember that as tired as you are, or as much as you don't want to do the same song and dance again for the 8th or 9th time in the day, the people that are there are not, you know, they're not there to hear you bitch and moan. They're here to, you know, to spend some time. And you know, it's good. I think when I look back on this past year, for me, you know, it's like, it's a year, you know, over, I don't know, 2 years ago, we started, ideating on, I guess more than two, on what 2XO would be and what, you know, what the whole program would look like. We launched with the Phoenix Blend, and then we got the Innkeepers Blend out there, and those were both incredibly exciting things to release. But I was also spending just as much time talking about the other parts of the program that were coming, the American Oak kind of being a core flagship product, and then the Gem of Kentucky, and you know, so what, you know, finally over the last, you know, 2 months and moving forward, to be able to actually be able to physically show these things and talk about these things, and not like, here's what we have right now, and then look at these slides on my iPad about these other things that are coming down the road. You know, I mean, it's really, you know, I feel like we have done a lot, accomplished a lot, put a lot out, in a relatively, you know, I shouldn't say short amount of time, but now like we're finally there. Like, we're always trying to get there and planning for and whatever. Now we've got it out there. And so there's definitely a feeling of accomplishment, but,
There
And
should be.
then, being wanted. I mean, you know what that's like. Like, if these opportunities weren't there, then you got a real problem, right? I mean,
Right.
it's pretty cool that that the product's in demand, and you're in demand, and that people want to to have you, me, whatever, to be present, and to be that's, to me, that's a pretty good sign.
That's great. Yeah, it's a great gauge of the hard work going into leading up to that point, and then the calls, the emails, whatever come in, the requests for things. We're doing a big event tonight that I've been getting ready for, and it, I've got to the point where we have to prioritize. We can't do everything, and now that we're scaling out. So next month is Kentucky. We'll be down in Kentucky doing what we're doing here, and getting ready for the next couple batches, and but it never ends. I like the idea of being able to show what's next on the roadmap. It's kind of like George Lucas, right? Like, you can't reveal the next Star Wars, but you got all these little secrets laying around of stuff that's in design. It's exciting to create, but it's even more exciting to get out there and share it with people.
Yeah, I mean, um, all those things, they start in your head, and then you work with a team to develop them into things you can touch, and then it comes together, and just there's a whole lot of planning, and then there's a lot of reward in actually being able to to share. And then when you get, we got a great piece in Esquire, we got a great piece in
Right.
Uprocks. I just met with some Maxim people, and want to, I mean, it's like all of a sudden it's like, oh, you put stuff out, and then people are picking up what you're laying down, which is
Mm-hmm.
to me, that gives me, I don't know. It's just it enthuses me and gives me some energy to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I got to ask, we're early on in December, got a little bit of the year left, but um, what's the rest of the year look like, and how does that really contribute to the holidays? We're doing events over the next couple weeks, and they're all these holiday centric themes. In end of the year sale prices, and based around shopping and having these little pop up holiday parties, and it's kind of cool. I really like it. I think it's actually good learning. There's a lot of data that comes out of these exercises or activities, things that we do, to be able to kind of take those and carry them forward in a non-holiday type of mode, because that's the thing, is we're always pushing product, at all levels. But what is your holiday work wise look like?
Well, I mean, so one of the things that we've done, especially now that we have the American Oak out there, that is not an LTO, another acronym that I didn't really understand before, but limited time offering. But to have our team really has started investigating the different larger scale festival type events and things like that. So participated in one in Chicago a few weeks ago called Whiskeys of the World, which was a really neat event. And then in between these different market visits and kind of meetings and stuff with our distributors, when I was in Los Angeles this past weekend and we did one called Heritage Fire, which is a super cool. They do them all over the country, but it's not just whiskey centric. It's actually not even just booze centric. It's actually more of a they have like 14 or 15 local chefs, and they pick a protein and
Nice.
they make a dish, and they have to grill it, and then people taste and vote on it. And they have, they had probably 15 to 20 vendors with, wine and spirits and that type of thing. So that was in Los Angeles. That was great. And then I'm on my way to South Florida to do the Palm Beach Food and Wine Festival. So three different, one very whiskey centric, one more kind of lifestyle type event, and one that's a larger, food and wine, and to just be one of the spirits there. And honestly, I have a trip that was tacked on to the end of that. And then I'm done. I'm done.
Family time.
This is, for me, it's, I think right now, I'm looking at about 4 weeks, last 2 weeks of December and the first 2 weeks of January, to be home and drive my wife and children crazy and try to catch up on, family time and whatever. I mean, we've had this crazy push over the last little bit and getting everything out there. And I feel like I've spent more time, I think, on airplanes than I have in my own bed. And some of it has been incredibly glamorous, and some of it has been the furthest thing from glamorous. I have learned the New York City mass transit system.
Good for you.
I'm about to be a proud owner of a Metro card here soon, and
Nice.
So things like. But I am really, really looking forward to being able to unpack a suitcase and put it in the attic and not have to
For 4 weeks.
Yeah, I'm going to take my toothbrush out of my toiletry kit and not have to put it back in there for a while. So
that's
very,
great.
very excited about that.
Probably have a year's worth of a honey-do list you got to get done at home.
Yeah. I left. I ran home to grab something to eat. And my wife is like doing all the outdoor decorating and things like that, and I felt really guilty. I think I don't know.
Well, I mean, you're working hard right now, so you shouldn't feel too bad.
True. Very
this
true.
This is not as easy as it looks.
What? So you're these kind of in-store events that you're lining up, that type of thing. Like, you're right there at the front of the store saying, "How about some whiskey, ma'am? Does your husband like bourbon? This is a great stocking stuffer."
Shots, everyone. Well, no, we're doing some like takeover type things where we go into a place, and we'll have 6 different SKUs and even merchandise, so we'll have samples, and we work out deals with the venues so that we can have certain pricing, discounted pricing, and then, giveaways, things to bring people in. So yeah, leading up to a really big one at the end of the month, 2 days before, the Saturday before Christmas, kind of last hoorah, get out there shopping. So we're kind of catering to that, those last minute shoppers, folks on their way to Christmas parties, holiday parties, and that sort of thing. And, so we'll make it easy for people to just pop in and buy a 6-pack of Golden Sheaf and be on your way. Maybe even have some gift wrapping available.
Oh
yeah, right. Everybody wants
a bow
on their
free gift wrap
bottle. Actually, just came up with that. Let me write that down.
Write that down. Yeah, that's a good one.
Right here. But yeah, all the things, and then like I said, getting ready for Kentucky because man, we've been selling a lot in Kentucky. We've got some great partners and great distributor, and we're scaling at this really um, aggressive rate, and which was just awesome, right? So um, trying to grow, resources accordingly as well, and volumes, and the great thing is we're still limiting our geographic footprint and our virtual footprint, so we've got a good handle on that. But it just makes sense to add resources
If
wherever
people want it,
necessary.
you got to give it to them.
Yeah, yeah, you have to be available. Have to have it out there, maintain that momentum. So it's exciting, and then working on some new products that we're going to roll out. Actually, getting ready to open up our own bottling operation. It's this close to being complete. We're just
That's
waiting on it.
fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. It's it's a little scary, overwhelming. Had its challenges, but we're at that point now where it just opens up some new avenues, doing a lot of customization locally, and a lot of new things. We got some new programs we're rolling out, so really excited about that.
And then what it is this is this you won't stop, right? You'll just roll right with this model into Kentucky in terms of the being here and being active, and then um, keep the foot on the gas kind of thing. I'm assuming.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've had rebuys. We haven't been there that long, but we are looking to do kind of private blends with some of the retailers down in Kentucky. Having all the conversations, it's more conversations are happening than we can keep up with. So
Yeah.
that's just being intentional about our time and resources. Focusing on our local backyard through the end of the year. Um, Next month is focusing on Kentucky, so we'll spend some time down there, meetings, all the behind the scenes stuff, but multiple events scheduled. Yeah, at some point maybe talk about doing some podcasting locally down there. Yeah, I'm excited for that. It's always exciting. It's been about a month and a half or so since I've been down in Kentucky, and for a while there it was just back and forth, back and forth. It's always a great time, especially this time of year. The Bourbon Capital Guild, and stopping in Bardstown to meetings and whatnot, hitting all the retail spaces, and then supporting those, but then also exploring where we need to go next, and just getting everything ramped up. Every time I turn around, we get a new buy from a retailer that we haven't even engaged with. That's kind of cool. That's
the thing that you start to find is that when you move into a new market and you identify X number of retailers or partners or whatever, and they support you, and it's it's incredible, and but it's also really easy to think you've got that one covered, and the key is never. It's like my grandfather used to say about the restaurant business. If somebody had a bad experience on the first the first visit, his answer was always, well, then we'll take care of their dinner, and we do whatever we need to do. Because at the end of the day, he said, I'm not interested at all in their business the first time and the second time and the third time. What I'm trying to build is their business for the 10th time, the 11th time, and the 12th
right.
time.
Yeah.
And I think that, yes, does that include the initial group you've reached out to, but you get a certain customer base, but you can't rely on that. You have to keep expanding, and you have to keep,
right.
And so that's been a challenge. I shouldn't say a challenge, but that's what, we've really been focused on is, you get out there and you build that initial base, but it can't stop there. You have to keep expanding and keep, finding whether that means moving outside your original target, or that means, finding other partners that are inside that geographic area or whatever. But I mean, as soon as you stop growing, you stop growing.
Yeah. Well, I agree 100%. But then there's also that sustainment port piece that I call it sustainment, but it's maintaining that fan base or that, consumer. That's a big deal. That's,
Sure.
and it's not so much the consumers. We've got some super fans, which is awesome. And I love seeing new super fans. I call them super fans just because they communicate a lot. They share things. They they're always on the lookout for new stuff and engage with us quite a bit. But in the retail space, keeping the product on the shelf, because, you go into a bar that maybe carried product a year ago and they don't any longer, but they've turned over their bar manager 3 or 4 times since then. And it makes sense. So it's great to have a good partner, a distributor, but also, it requires those touch points, as you well know. I mean, you're out there in the field, in the market constantly. And it's not just a one and done, for sure. There's a lot of continued work.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a, and I could argue both sides of the debate. I mean, you want to, especially in the higher price categories, you need scarcity somewhat. I mean, if you just blast a whole bunch of this stuff out there,
right.
then it's not as exciting as if it's if there's a certain limit to it. But you can be too limited, and if you're too limited, they'll take in what you got and they sell right through it, and then you have to go and almost reintroduce yourself the next time you have something, because it's like, yeah, that was in, that was gone, and you're not on their radar any longer. Right. Once that product is out of there. So there's a certain level of maintaining a presence and being front of mind, while also you don't want somebody sitting on a whole bunch of boxes that
right.
It's like it's a tightrope walk.
It is. And being a hardcore bourbon fan myself, I've said this many times, I'm the guy that's always trolling up and down the aisles in the liquor stores, and some of it's market research, some of it's just for my own consumption curiosity, but I get it, and I understand our consumers, and I also understand that there's this constant growth in the bourbon aisle, and there's always new stuff coming up, so it's always exciting to try new things as well. And it's good to have kind of your daily drinker or your go-to. But I feel like go-tos are not nearly as common as they used to be any longer, because of the new addition of products that roll out. And there's some great bourbons out there that not a day goes by that I don't see something new I'm not familiar with, whether it's local or something that a larger conglomerate's rolling out.
Yeah, we always talk about, and sometimes it's a little bit different in from the mega store perspective. But, at the end of the day, for a retailer, every bottle on their shelves are paying rent.
Right.
And if your product doesn't move, then you're not paying your rent, and they're going to, evict you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's that idea of like, how do you stay front of mind, both at the consumer and with the associates who are moving your product and that type of thing, so that you are paying rent, but you don't want to run, you don't want it all gone, or else they've got an empty spot there until you bring something else back. And so, because that space has got to pay rent. And if you don't have any product for them to sell, then they got to put a new renter in that spot.
Somebody else is going to rent that space. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's the trick. That's at least where we're at right now. You look at like marketing programs and who we're marketing to. Absolutely, marketing, trying to sell to the end consumer, but it's our responsibility as a producer who makes the initial purchase? The distributor. So you get, they buy product, they put it in their warehouse. But then from there, if you don't sell, you're renting that space too in the distribution warehouse. If they don't sell, if the retailers don't buy, then again, your distributor. So that's one thing I don't know that consumers really understand and appreciate is the support at all levels. And, so it's good to have good partners, cultivate those relationships, but also ensure at the consumer level, they're buying the product. So the retailers will continue to keep their shelves populated. So distributors will continue to purchase finished goods, and then you continue to produce new product. That's a lot of handshaking, a lot of baby kissing right there.
Yeah, it is. I mean, those, I think I shared this before, the strategy for me is to activate, energize and educate the distributor so that they know and can go out and they have relationships with accounts, and they could say, hey, this is something exciting. This is something you need to have. This is a great fit for you. This is wonderful. And then, activate as much as we can at the consumer level. So if your distributor knows what you've got and the consumer is excited about it and they're asking for it, they're going to go to the retail level and say, hey, can you start carrying this? This is what I really want.
Right.
And if the retailer then turns around to the distributor and says, I want this, and they say, I have no idea what you're talking about,
right,
then, then there's you missed. So if you can activate at and engage at the distributor level and create demand at the consumer level, it'll meet at the retail level, and that retail, a lot of them are very engaged in the industry and what's going on, but a lot of them are just, they don't care what it is. If it sells, if it makes them money, then that's great. And so, you get a consumer asking for it, or consumers asking for it, and a distributor that knows what it is and can pipeline it. That's at least that's been our, my strategy lately is working kind of those two sides of the thing. And then without a doubt, we spend a day or two, in the car, or trains, planes, automobiles,
on foot
at the retail level, just, saying thank you. It's a lot of that now. I mean, when thinking about this time last year, it was so much more of an intro. We were introducing this product and introducing this concept and introducing the line, and now I'm kind of more in the support and relationship building part of the program. But it's that there's also the times I'm just like, man, I miss, I look forward to being able to get back home and just say, okay, it's time to actually spend the quiet time working on the next thing. Like, you're talking to the marketing team about it and the sales team about it and all that stuff, whatever. And it's like, no, that is actually the one, the part that I probably enjoy the most and feel like I do the least anymore is the actual, the creative, the opportunity to, unplug from a lot of that stuff and just, just go
Yep.
back to playing with my bottles.
Right. Yep. Yep. I don't know about you. I have a couple blends kind of in the works that they're where they are. We've kind of tinkered with them, and I've revisited recently, received some new samples, just today. Thanks for that connection. Amazing stuff. I'm pretty excited about that.
Good.
Yeah, it's the same thing, and that's kind of getting over this hump of the construction and getting into the environment. I'm moving equipment and moving stuff into the lab. So it'll be nice to have a little workspace to be able to, on a full-time basis. I know when I come to your place, you've got kind of a mix of all the things, your meeting space, your creative space, your office space, your sit and look out the window and enjoy space. And been kind of envious of that. So looking forward to having a little workshop, and we've built it so that we can bring people in and create things together, and then actually, produce stuff at a larger scale. But yeah, a lot of things, a lot of moving parts. But a lot of things, going back to that, reflecting and appreciating, it's been, I don't know, kind of humbling for me to look back at what we've done, but to also see your journey. And, just this last year, it's pretty unbelievable, to sit here and think about it. Like, we were doing this about a year ago, just kind of getting started with the podcast. And holy cow, it's like everything went into fast forward for the last 12 months. It's been a great year though. And it's, I feel like on our end, at least, it's just getting started. I know, you got a lot of big things in the works as well too. So,
it is. I think that's part of what I need, we've talked about this before. Like, I need that time to, recharge the batteries and really reflect. I mean, I don't think it's really hit me, the volume of what we have accomplished. I mean, I think part of that is because you don't even get to, I have not had the ability to pause and kind of celebrate something or relish, where we are in something, because it's always been on to the next, and I don't know that even in my previous life, we were kind of doing it was a once a year thing. And so the rest of the year was just kind of supporting, those one or two. I think it'll be a little bit easier to, but this year has felt like every time I turned around, it was the next thing, on to the next, I kind of, sometimes even now, like, I got home the other night, it was late, and my family was asleep, and, the lights are on in the kitchen though. And on the bar in the kitchen, where I look up and there's the American Oak and the Phoenix and the Tribute and the Innkeepers and the Tribute and the Gem of Kentucky. And I was just like, golly, that
a lot of work.
Yeah. But, it's just, I don't know. What was that movie line? If you don't stop and take a look around, who is that? Was that Forrest Gump? Or I don't know. Anyway, yeah. That's I feel like it's just been a lot of that. It's just been a lot of like and I never felt like I made any dent in my to-do list. It was always it was always growing. You know?
Right. Yeah, and it never ends. Well, that's awesome, and I think this kind of turned into a little bit of an end of the year wrap, but I'm not ready for that yet. So we're gonna have to do an episode where we do an end of the year wrap, and we, maybe after you've been off, home for a couple days to kind of reflect and get you well rested and truly kind of.
Yes,
share.
I think a highlights of 2023 episode would be kind of fun.
I think that'd be a ton of fun.
Top 5, top 3 wins of 2023 or something like that.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah,
all right.
I think that's a great place to leave this.
I love it, man. Well, good luck with all your events, and safe travels, and
same to you.
We'll do this again. Same bat time, same bat place.
Same bat channel, same bat whiskey. All right, sir. Cheers to you.
Cheers, brother.
Until next time. Like, share, subscribe, follow. Until next time. Cheers.